Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome along wherever you're watching in the world to the AOR Hype Energy F1 League here on the PS4. The 20th season and the 11th round takes us to Spielberg for the Austrian Grand Prix. Welcome along this evening. I hope you're having a great Sunday and we hope we make it even better for you. My name is Kieran McGinley and joining me alongside in the commentary box for the 11th round is the lovely Mr. Luke Etheridge. Luke, we're here at Austria, one of the shortest tracks on the calendar, but no short of action. How are you doing tonight?
I'm very well, thanks. Good evening to you, Kieran. Good evening to everyone watching, as Kieran said, wherever you are. And like you said, no shortage of action. 3 DRS zones, DRS trains are a given unless we get any wet weather. But there's always exciting races. I can't remember ever commentating on a boring race around this circuit. And it's one of the simplest circuits on the calendar, really, with its layout. Yet it just promotes fantastic racing every single time. I can't wait. Yeah, doesn't it just? And if you are watching along at home, make sure you are commenting down below during the action. We've had some great turnouts recently for the recent races. And of course, if you did miss the French Grand Prix, well, you missed Paul Blizzard, the circuit Paul Blizzard. I wish I'd have sent that pun on stream, but I didn't. And it's not the same. But anyway, Blizzard got his 3rd race win of the season last time around. He's now the most winningest driver of the league this season so far. But it is Gil who still tops the table by 10 points ahead of Domi. Blizzard, though, is in 3rd place in the championship. He has cut down his gap to the leader in Gil. But I have to say, the Frenchman coming into the halfway point in the season, he's looking good. Yeah, he's looking very good. It's been a story about his consistency more than anything, really. He just always seems to be there or thereabouts. His qualifying pace, I mentioned last time, hasn't perhaps been as good as some of the other drivers around him. He's only had I believe 1 pole position this season, and Blizzard's had 4 at the moment. But I can't remember Gil, apart from Canada, where he still picked up a couple of points. He hasn't had a bad race. He scored points in every race since round 1 of the season. Australia, he failed to get any points, but since then, scored points in every race. He's had 7 podiums so far, and that's why he's leading the championship. It's just been a story of consistency, and you'd imagine tonight he'll be pretty happy. If he could just keep picking up these podiums, he'll be looking very good by the end of the season.
Yes, absolutely. We're now counting down into the lobby. Very quick turnaround tonight, as we are a little bit late starting. I do apologise. I was enjoying my meal before I came on, and I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to do it. We're going into qualifying, though. 18 minutes of qualifying coming up. And I have to say, Luke, of course, this is one of the shortest circuits on the calendar. There's only 10 corners, or what the FIA deem as 10 corners. It used to be 8 when the track was abandoned, I should say, in 2002. Returned to the calendar as the Red Bull Ring earlier on in the last decade, I should say. I was about to say this decade, but no, it was last decade. It was reintroduced as the Red Bull Ring. Now, when it comes to qualifying, Luke, normally you get 2 good runs at any given circuit. But with Austria, could we be seeing that destined 3rd run?
Yeah, definitely. You'll see the drivers getting 3 or 4 runs easily. We're talking sub 63 second lap times we could see here. Such a short track. And what that does mean, of course, is traffic can play a big factor, although they won't be doing any 63 second lap times in that. Wow,
that is torrential rain, isn't it? That looks like wet tyres to me. That is absolutely thrown the wrench in there. I mean, we were expecting 62 second lap times. I mean, you look at the time trial leaderboards, and there's even drivers there in 61 seconds, immensely quick around this track. But as you say, Luke, none of that here today. And when it comes to qualifying and then the race, now obviously there was that time-old tradition where you'd have to think about qualifying strategy going into the race. Do you run quali with a wet setup and hope that it rains in the race, or do you qualify on a dry setup, struggle all the way through, but then have the advantage when the race came? With a recent little bit of update here, that could change how this race unfolds, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So the last update has made it more realistic. So beforehand, everyone knows about the parc fermé conditions. As soon as you go out in qualifying for the first lap, you can't change your setup, apart from a few factors. Now, before it was really just the front wing. Now that they've added differentials and tyre pressures into that to make it more like what it is in actual Formula 1. Of course, you can't go changing so many different types of tyres all of a sudden and changing suspension and everything and downforce, which is ideally what you'd like to do if it's going to be dry in the race. You'd still expect the drivers are going to go towards whatever the race is going to be. You don't get any points for qualifying and this is a track where it is possible to overtake. What this does perhaps mean is that the alternate strategy starting outside the top 10, obviously that's going to make a difference. If it's dry in the race, everyone can just go for whatever strategy they want, so we should get a good mix across the grid.
We should do indeed, and of course if it is a dry session we should be expecting the one stop there as Dario gets a huge amount of wheel spin coming off the final corner. Here we go then on board with a soggy lap here with Dario in the McLaren as he makes his way up the hill in towards turn 1, turning in there and of course using those curbs, which is a brave strategy in these soggy conditions. Now making our way on towards the debated turn 2 through this slight left-hander before we brake hard in towards turn 3, braking just before the 100-metre ball. You could just hear a brake locking there as he tries to turn in there. Watch out for the wheel spin, let alone in the wet, as you now make your way over that crest and down towards the run towards turn 4. And of course this would normally be a DRS zone, the second DRS zone of the lap. Then making our way down in towards turn 4, it goes downhill towards the apex, so it's very easy to lock a brake there. Bit of wheel spin from Dario as he now makes his way through turn 5, now heading in towards the double left-hander of turn 6 and 7, keeping it nice and tidy, not spinning up the wheels too much here as we now make our way through turn 7. On the throttle now as we head our way through turn 8 and then over that crest towards turns 9 and 10 towards Lauda and Rindt corner as we now make our way through turn 9 and then onwards towards that final corner of turn 10. Watch out for that curb on the inside. If you catch it wrong, your car will just understeer straight onwards. But that is a quick, short, sharp lap here of the Austrian Grand Prix. 1:13.6 from Dario is the first lap on the board.
Pretty decent lap time considering the conditions. Only, 10-11 seconds off of what you'd expect in fully dry conditions. Domi takes it off him though. He goes into first with a 1:13.434. I think we're going to see a lot of drivers invalidating and a lot of drivers struggling just to keep it on the circuit around here. It's not normally a track in the dry where you go for a lot of downforce because it's only really that middle sector that's got medium speed corners. Most of the corners are fairly slow, obviously heavy braking zones especially into turns 3 and turn 4. Expect to see everyone heading out though and doing multiple laps. It is something you see in the wet conditions for the drivers just to get a feel for the car a bit more because they will have practiced in the wet, but obviously you'd expect it at every single track. It's more likely to be dry than it is to be wet. I was going to say at some tracks it's 100% certain to be dry, but I've seen the forecast for the Bahrain Grand Prix this weekend and you never know. You never know what could happen, but they'll just get used to the car, they'll burn the fuel off and just get a bit of a feel for it. And if it dries up towards the end of the session, who knows, we might even see someone risk a set of intermediates.
We might see it, and let's hope that we do. Let's hope that it does start to dry up just a little bit as we head towards qualifying. The race, I should say. Domi then now into the 112s. First driver to do so in these soggy conditions with that 112.9. Suku and Surface in the Renault second and third, 13.4 and 13.5 respectively, as Dario there is now in 4th place. Lee Finley in 5th with a 13.7. Liam Parnell in 6th place. Lee Finley now with that latest lap time puts himself onto the 2nd row of the grid, up into 3rd place for the Mercedes man. And there is Blizzard there. Well, it was Circuit Paul Blizzard. It's Circuit yet to come up with a pun here for the British man in the Williams, as he now goes into a 112.8. Domi, the next one, into the 112s there. You can see in that 112.9. Aero's moved up the order onto the 2nd row of the grid now, 113.5 from the Racing Point driver. And these laps are coming in thick and fast. Just as you said, Luke, the drivers are just going to keep consistently putting these lap times in these treacherous conditions because this is what the wet tyre is good at. It's a very durable tyre. It can keep putting in those lap times without causing too much to the delta and causing too much pace to be lost. Coutinho making his way out onto the track. He's now in that Ferrari. Petrix there now in the Alpha Tower as he tries and makes his way through turn 5 onwards towards turn 6 and 7. And as you can see, the leaderboard is constantly changing. Dario now with a 113.0.
Yeah, good time from Dario. I mean, this is a big opportunity for mainly really the top 3, Blizzard, Domi and Dario, and you can add Liam and Gamer perhaps into that. Gil not being here, they're wanting to take a chance to really take the lead of this championship. It's only Domi who can do that. If he finishes in the top 4, he will be leading the championship. He's currently 10 points behind Gil at the moment. Blizzard's had a few DNFs. In fact, 3 of the last 5 races he failed to finish. Wasn't on the best run before he got that run last time out in France. So he's currently 32 points behind, and it looks like he's carrying on where he left off last time around. A really good lap from him and coming into the pits already. Fairly close as well in wet conditions, because normally you do see a bit more of a split in the field in the wet, but at the moment we have got the top 10 all within a second of each other.
Yeah, they have, and you can see it's really good pace to see. Coutinho there now with a 1:13.1 in that Ferrari, puts himself now onto the second row of the grid as he just invalidates that lap time going out of turn 1. And whilst this is a short circuit, Luke, I have to say the stewards around here are hot on those track limits, aren't they?
Yes, turn 1 especially, and 9 and 10 of other ones, as if I just watched Dario under braking for turn 1, just ever so slightly drift too far to the left, and that was it. Invalidated, 112.929. He'll be fairly happy with that. In second place at the moment. He was, of course, in that battle for second place last time out because there was absolutely no one battling for first in France. He was in that battle alongside Domi, Gamer and Gil, and just made a slight mistake which cost him, but he's doing okay at the moment. Pretty good to see Sam and Coutinho up there. They haven't found it the easiest since they've moved up from F2, 4th and 5th at the moment. Maybe just these changeable conditions are what they needed.
Yeah, and it does shake up that grid as Surface now goes 4th place in the standings, 3/10 quicker than his previous attempt. The 1:13.004 is his time on the board. As we can see, Caden Forbes there, now the only one who's in those 1:14s, but I have to say, in these treacherous conditions, I'll be lucky to make it round here without colliding with a wall. It's probably a circuit where the walls are the furthest point you could possibly be, but I think I'd find the walls somehow out there. But he's on a lap right now, making his way in through turn 6 as we now make our way towards turn 7. Yes, there's only 10 corners. Yes, I'm going to mess them up. You know, it's me. That's what's going to happen. But the Red Bull now tiptoeing its way through turn 8, and over that crest we go towards turns 9 and 10 to complete the lap. Now, pit entry, Luke, is something that the drivers will have been briefed on going in towards tonight's race. I think the stewards would have made it pretty clear that they've got to be on the right-hand side on the entry in towards turn 9, and more importantly to the right hand side of the pit entry line if they want to come into the pits.
Yes, it is quite a tricky pit entry, as you mentioned. As you're coming up over the hill at turn 8, you've got to make your intentions pretty clear. There's the Fanatec bridge, I believe it is. Ideally you want to be already showing that you're over to the right hand side. On hard tyres though, on older tyres I should say, and especially if it's this condition in the race, it's not the easiest to get into that pit lane if you're pushing as hard as possible. So who knows, maybe we might see someone Viking in it that he did at Nürburgring 2007 and just understeer out of the pit lane. Everyone's looking fairly comfortable at the moment though. Now that Caden's closed up, we've now got the entire field within 7/10 of a second, and some pretty big names down near the bottom. Aero, Liam and Gamer all outside of the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite odd to see, but it's what these wet conditions can do. They can shake up the grid going in towards the race. Blizzard's out there right now as he now makes his way onto the entrance in towards turn 7, and as you say, no one seems to be really struggling. You see the odd wheel spin here or there, but it's not like anybody's struggling majorly with these conditions. Here comes Blizzard then going in towards turn 9 and then making his way towards turn 10. Bit of a kick of oversteer as he now gets into that entry of the final corner. Now onwards towards the start finish line. We'll get to see if this was any sort of representative lap, and it definitely was. 1:12.7 there from Blizzard, goes even quicker in these conditions and further extends his advantage at the top of the standings right now.
Yeah, he's looking very good at the moment, you've got to say. Just stretching a bit more out of it on 3-lap-old tyres as well. I imagine he'll be coming in now this time around. We'll have to see what, if everyone goes out again, that suggests we are going to get a dry race, because you're of course limited to the amount of wet tyres and intermediate tyres that you can have. And talking about intermediates, it looks like the Red Bull boys are thinking about venturing out there, which might be brave, but if the track conditions change at just the right time, that could be a genius move.
It could be, and looking at the weather right now, the rain has eased off since the start of this session. That's not actually a bad call at all, but Caden Forbes has switched back to the wet tyres, as Gamer might... no, Gamer is now out on circuit on intermediate tyres. So this is a huge gamble for Gamer, but much like Hulkenberg in Brazil in 2010, if this pays off, it's going to be a huge lap time to beat.
Oh, if this pays off, this is going to be absolutely fantastic. I've seen a few other drivers try this and they've just missed the cut-off point as Blizzard goes even faster again. 1:12.523. He's absolutely loving it at the moment. He just feels at one with the car. I don't think he'll be going out on intermediates because he's just feeling so comfortable at the moment. Going back to Blizzard, going back to Gamer, I should say, sorry, he's got to make sure that he can just keep the temperature in these tyres. He's going to have to drive a fairly rapid outlap, because that's the problem with the intermediates. They can't move the standing water as much, so you're at a much bigger risk of aquaplaning, and they don't keep the temperature because they haven't got the tread block movement that the wet tyres have got. So if it's a bit too cold and a bit too wet, you'll just lose tyre temperature. And we all know these Pirellis are very finicky tyres. If you get them just outside that window, too hot or too cold as he slides his way round the final corner, you're going to be in big trouble. This could be very interesting indeed, though, to see what he can do, because he's the only person who's braved it with a third of the session remaining.
Yeah, and you have to remember as well, the wet weather tyres are designed to displace 70 litres of water per second, and the intermediates with their slimmer tread are only meant to displace that sort of 15 to 20, so it's a big difference there. It's a big lock-up from Gamer as he makes his way in towards turn 3. He's invalidated this lap, so he won't have a chance to improve his lap time, but gives him a chance of another cycle lap and see what he wants to do. Lee Finley, meanwhile, now gets up to the second row of the grid with a 112.6 in the Mercedes. Second place for him at this moment in time.
Yeah, very good lap from him. And again, since Monaco, he just seems to have invigorated him. He just seems to be a different person. Could have easily won that race if it wasn't for penalties. And I'm just watching Gamer going around 2 seconds off his personal best. I think it's maybe just a bit too early, but if he can build some confidence in these tyres, by the time it's ready for intermediates, everyone else might be struggling a bit more. So looks like he's carrying on for another lap. I can't say I blame him.
No, it's just all about trying to make sure you get those tyres up to temperature, but you can see just on the outsides of the circuit, the big telling factor between the wet and the intermediates is if there's standing water out on track, it's wet weather tyres, it's full wet tyres. On the racing line, however, it's looking better and better each lap. At this moment in time, I don't think Gamer's too far away from the intermediates, but I think it's just slightly too early. But as the session progresses, with the rain easing up, you would think that the conditions are going to favour him towards the end. Johan thought about intermediate tyres and has now switched back to the wet tyres in the Ferrari there. However, it's on his mind quite clearly as we've got other drivers getting themselves up the order. I believe that was Coutinho who's just now posted the 5th fastest time of the session. 112.8 puts him now onto the 3rd row of the grid. And as you say, Luke, turn 1 track limits bite again as his lap time's invalidated.
Yeah, so easy to do. And turn 10 as well, that's the other one that I always find really awkward, because if you get it wrong through turn 10, that's your next lap invalidated as well, and you're in a bit of trouble. Now, Gamer is 1.1 seconds down, so he's half a second quicker than the time before. This is all coming towards the final lap. The track might just be ready for intermediate tyres if you can keep it on that drier line that is appearing. It's going to be borderline. If it works for them, you're going to get pole position. If it doesn't work, well, Gamer, he's down in 15th at the moment. He's probably not really got time to head back around again, so it's worth him keeping it out on track. We're at them. It's really close conditions at the moment, you've got to say. The intermediates probably aren't giving you the confidence that the wets give you to maybe just push that extra little bit harder.
Well, I have to say there's a couple of drivers chance their arm on the intermediate tyres. Lee Finley has just left the pit lane. He's also on the green-walled intermediate tyres, feeling that it's ready for those conditions. Blizzard also thinking about the intermediate tyres, as well as Caden Forbes and Johan in the Ferrari. In fact, I think one of the Ferraris is leaving the pit lane. We'll have a see who it is. It is Johan, and he is on those intermediate tyres. Well, fortune does favour the brave, and at the moment there's about 5 or 6 drivers out there who are braving those intermediate tyres. I can't blame them. The rain's eased off and that racing line looks much less damp than it did before. Intermediates are surely the way to go for the end of the session.
Yeah, Gamer through Sector 2 this time was 4 tenths down on his personal best, so we're at the crossover point definitely, and I imagine everyone who's still on the wet, Suzuku goes fastest with a 112.471. I imagine everyone else who's on the wet tyres in the pits right now is just swapping between the intermediates and the wets and watching the delta change. And as soon as it gets within a couple of tenths for the wet tyres being fast, I imagine then everyone will put the intermediates on, because obviously the outlap will make it a bit longer. It definitely looks like intermediate conditions. If I was out there, I'd be on intermediates. I'd probably be in the wall at the same time, but I'd give it a go.
You'd give it a go. Like I said, fortune favours the brave. Lee Finley's out there now. He's on a flying lap on these intermediate tyres, so we'll get a chance to see how he can cope with these conditions. More importantly, it's the braking zone in towards turn 3. Can you actually stop that car? Big lock up there from Lee Finley going in towards turn 3, but he has got that car slowed down. Now let's have a look here. The end of the sector is towards the sort of turn 7 section there, just as in the entrance of turn 7. Sam Gamer clearly feels that he can't improve on his time, either that or he just hasn't got enough time to make his way back to the pit lane, and that's exactly it. He's invalidated a lap and he hasn't got enough time, he feels, to set a lap time, or feels that's good enough. Lee Finley then coming towards the Sector 2 line, and he's only 500ths down on his own time. Unfortunately, though, he's run a little bit too wide. He's invalidated that lap time. He's still got a bit of time on the board, around about 70 seconds to go. This is last chance saloon for Lee Finley. If he wants to put an intermediate time on the board, it's going to be one of those cases where you want to be the last person across the line just before that checker flag comes out. You want to be passed on your lap time with 0.01 seconds on the board, that's for sure. But Lee Finley crosses the line with about 57 seconds to go, so not quite the optimum time he wanted to cross that line. However, he's got to go for it now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Aero, who's just coming around turn 4 and 5 at the moment. I think he's probably going to be that last person across the line. I think if you're out on the wet tyres at the moment, you're going to be in big trouble, because everyone on the intermediates, when it starts crossing over, it's pretty much like exponential how quick the intermediates become the quicker tyre. It's really rapid indeed, and I think you will now start to see the times fall. I don't think anyone has yet improved on a set of intermediate tyre. Johan's the only person actually, and he was again one of the first to go out. He's the only person so far that has improved on a set of intermediate tyres. Aero was a bit slower, but he will be the last man across the line, and it's going to be Domi who finishes his lap first, and he's still out on the wets.
Yeah, so Domi then will be out there, and he will now come around the final corner. The checkered flag is out here in Spielberg for this qualifying session. Domi heading towards the line now, and he doesn't improve but stays in second place. Suku right now still top of the table. Lap times will be coming in thick and fast now. Lee Finley takes pole position at the moment, 1:12.1 from the Mercedes driver, and intermediates look like they were the right call in the end. Simo is spinning his way now, spinning up those rear tyres I should say, coming across the line. He now finishes in 11th place, but he finished on a set of wet tyres. Coutinho is out there on wet tyres, but he's invalidated his lap time. Here comes Johan then on the intermediates coming towards the line. What can he do? Only 5th fastest, 1:12.5. There are wet tyre runners that went quicker. Caden Forbes then making his way towards the line. What can he do in the Red Bull there? He can go 9th fastest and no faster. There's a Williams heading towards the line. Looks like it's going to be Blizzard, 1:12.182, 0.03 of a second quicker than the Mercedes of Lee Finley. Here comes Liam Parnell across the line, 5th fastest from him. There's a racing point there in Aero, who moves up the order, and in a chaotic qualifying session where either tyre could have been the one, Blizzard gets pole position on those intermediate tyres by 0.03 of a second. What a qualifying session to kickstart us.
Yes, so close. I think what did it for Lee Finley, because he seemed to get a bigger advantage than everyone else, was just that confidence. It was his second lap out on the intermediate tyres, his second hot lap, whereas for Blizzard and some of the others, it was his first. Blizzard still managed to do it. Great job from Suku. 3rd on the wet tyres in the Renault. He'll be looking for a good performance. Domi in 4th, and I think there'll be a few drivers out there maybe thinking they should have gone for the intermediates as well, especially Gamer. Last place on the grid at the moment. Let's not forget, he was the first person to go out, probably when it was just a bit too wet, and he was not able to get back out again and put a fresh set of intermediates on.
Yeah, he had the right idea, but just slightly the wrong timing. As you say, Suku there on the wet tyres, holding on to 3rd place. And it was really a case of fortune favouring the brave there. Blizzard and Lee Finley getting into the 1:12.1s on those intermediate tyres. Hopefully there'll be no need to turn them into slicks like certain drivers did at the Turkish Grand Prix. No, there's no need for them whatsoever, because it's beautiful, it's sunny here in Spielberg. And that raises a couple of questions then, Luke. What strategy did the drivers go on? Because it was a wet qualifying session, they're allowed to start on any tyre they like.
Yes, well, earlier on, Warren said he's expecting everyone to be out on the hard tyres. I'm expecting something similar. Most of the field will do for that. Maybe if you're lower down, you might try something slightly different. Early safety cars can cause problems. We've seen many big accidents into turn 1 here. We've seen Kvyat, I think, torpedo take 2 into the back of Fernando Alonso a few years ago, and Alonso again had a very scary accident actually with Kimi Raikkonen, I believe, in 2015. And most of the drivers will be going for the hard tyres. Hard to soft, one-stop strategy. They'll be lightning fast towards the end of the race. It's sunny now. Who says the weather's not going to change? I don't believe it will do. This makes me wonder, maybe Formula 1 always talks about plans for making the racing a bit more exciting, and we know Lewis Hamilton can drive on intermediates when it's pretty much dry. Why don't we just force everyone in the top 10 to start on the wet tyres, see how good they really are?
Oh, that seems a bit unfair. So everyone outside the top 10 doesn't start on the wet tyres, they start on slicks. That doesn't seem quite fair. But to be fair, that would make some cars competitive at least. Anyway, we're heading into the starting order now. And I have to say, Luke, it looks like some of the drivers are not listening to you. Most of them are on the medium tyres to start this one. So that indicates they're going for the medium to softs. 2 drivers on soft tyres, Lee Finley and Suku, hoping to just drive away at the front of the pack. They'll be looking to get onto a set of medium tyres later on in the race. And those starting on the hards, well, they've pretty much locked themselves in. They'll be using some soft tyres towards the end of the race, you would think, because if they went onto the medium tyres, then the hard tyres stint will pretty much have not been a very good thing to do at all. However, this is why the drivers are in their driver's seat right now. It's a very short formation lap, of course. It's only about 90 seconds to talk about the upcoming race. So speaking of which, Luke, we should probably do that as the drivers are about halfway through the lap already. Who are you expecting to have a good performance here tonight?
Blizzard just looks on form again. He seems to be doing really well indeed. What I am looking forward to, these first few laps, Lee Finley and Suku have got to get ahead of Blizzard and get out of DRS range and just drag each other along to make this strategy work. If Blizzard, Domi, any of the others come along with them, they've got absolutely no chance of getting a victory in this race. So I'm not too surprised that anyone further down didn't go for the soft tyres, because they would get stuck in that DRS train. I think it's going to be hard to look past Blizzard though, starting on pole on the medium tyres. As long as he can stay in range of Lee Finley and Suku, he should get the win, I believe. But we've got all 3 tyres in play. We're not going to know how this result is panning out until the very last lap of the race.
Bring it on. We've got 36 laps here of Spielberg for the Austrian Grand Prix awaiting us. Perfect conditions for racing right now. 3 different tyres on display, and the great part is all the tyres you're seeing on there are a set of fresh compound of tyres, brand new tyres for the start of the race. So let's get things underway then for the 36 laps we're about to have here in the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League here on PS4. Blizzard with another pole position here in season number 20, but we now count up to signal the start of the race. It is 5 red lights. And we're racing in Spielberg. One of the start line. Great start from Lee Finley on those soft tyres. Watch out for him going up the inside in towards turn 1 there. There's a Red Bull in the background as well. That's Caden Forbes who's got a good start as well. As this driver's running wide, Suku has to take to the outside of the track going through turn 1. So too did one of the Red Bulls, I think that was, just running wide as we now charge our way up towards turn 3. Blizzard still leading that pack there, but we're going 3 wide in the background there. Dario, and that's the Renault of Surface trying to launch an attack up the inside. Did he make that through? Well, they're now making their way all the way towards turn 4. Short, sharp, hectic action here as we now make our way towards the 4th corner. We've got Domi and Johan battling for position away now as we head through turn 5. They're going side by side. Both have a Ferrari in the back, but it's the Works Ferrari who's got the inside line heading in towards turn 6. Side by side they go, both on different strategies here. Now going through turn 7. The Haas has the outside going into 7. He'll have the inside going towards 8. Fantastic move from Domi there. Currently 2nd in the championship, but that position has got him now up to 4th place. Coutinho now makes his way up into the top 10 on those medium tyres, and it looked very, very clean start. It's only about 69 seconds since the start lights went out, and it's already Blizzard in the lead. We've got an Alfa Romeo looking for a move up the inside. That's Caden Forbes looking for a move there, but didn't quite get the run he needed. They're now running side by side, as that is Caden Forbes looking for a move now. Surely not 3 wise, guys. On lap 2, you must be mad, but Parnell has got the move done. He's up now into 8th place. There you can see Caden Forbes looking for a move now. He wants that position back now. Sam Gamer just grabbing the popcorn, he says, and wants another go. Meanwhile, Dario and Gamer are in the pits.
Yeah, Davio got it wrong going into turn 3. I think he actually went into the back of Liam. No damage done to the Williams, but big damage to the front wing of the McLaren. So he's out on the soft tyres. Gamers put the soft tyres on as well. They're going for a 2-stop strategy, and Lee has done exactly what he needed to do. Got a much better exit out of turn 3. Takes the lead of the race on these soft tyres. Suku will be hoping he can follow him, but with DRS next time around and 3 DRS zones on this track, it might be a bit hard to get that gap away. Domi dropping back ever so slightly, partly due to his battle with Johan. If he's outside of DRS range, that is going to make it hard. And there we go, fastest lap of the race for Lee Findlay. He's just got to push now. Don't think about saving the tyres, just push like crazy. You'll be going onto the hards at the end, and you will easily make it. Lap 3 of this race, and now the DRS comes into play. top two, well, second and third having DRS, and then Johan has it, and Caden had it, and he gets his way past Liam. So not really one massive train at the front of the field anyway. There is now a bit of a train behind Caden all the way back to Petrux, so going to be hard for anyone in that pack to overtake. Liam, Petrux and Aero won't mind. They'll just be hoping they can hang on to the back of these guys, seeing as they're all on mediums, and Liam, Petrux and Aero are on the hards.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on to the third lap of this race, and DRS is now online, and the top three are within DRS range. It's Domi who's slightly fallen back, and that's something you don't want to do here in Spielberg. You don't want to fall back from the car ahead, and you don't want to fall back from that DRS zone and that DRS strain, because you lose so much time heading into the race. But he'll just be looking now to try and make his medium tyres go for as long as possible. Surface picks up the first penalty of the race, a 3-second time penalty. That'll be added to the end of his race. Surface is though trying to chase down Sam Gamer as we make our way now up the hill in towards turn one, and of course clipping that curb on the right hand side. Sam Gamer running a little bit wide on the exit of turn one, and now Surface is trying to draw in the Alfa Romeo as we head up the hill now in towards turn three. Will Surface go for a move up the inside? He certainly wants to stick a nose in, and you can see there Sam Gamer did leave a little bit of room there, because of course he would have had the red arrows right beside him saying there's someone on your inside. He left the gap, but he couldn't quite take advantage, could Surface.
No, he couldn't in the end. I think there might have been a slight little tap between Surface and Sam, but thankfully no damage done. And what you said about Domi being outside of DRS is just proving to be true. You can see here he's now 1.5 seconds behind Suku. He doesn't need to panic too much at the moment, just needs to keep doing his own job. At some point though, Lee Findlay's got to think about, right, do I just use all my ERS and fuel on one lap and try and break that 1 second window? Because Blizzard can just stay quite comfortably behind. He's got DRS basically half the lap as Scene Mode now gets a penalty. He's going to have to try something a bit different here, and Suku, same as well, he's going to have to try something different. He's going to have to try and force his way past Blizzard at some point, because staying behind him, if you're the third man in the train, it's really awkward to get an overtake done, as Sam now looks for a move on Liam.
Well, Sam here getting that move done on Parnell as we make our way up towards turn three, and Sam Gamer moves up a position. Of course, Parnell started this race on the hard tyres, and he's looking to try and go as far into this race as possible. Meanwhile, Johan and Domi battling for position down in towards turn four. Johan has just about got that car stopped then, and this time the Works Ferrari is ahead of the Haas with the Ferrari in the back. Johan up to fourth place now.
Yeah, good performance from Johan so far. I've got to say that. He's not really shown fantastic form, with all due respect to him this season. Hasn't finished in the top five yet. Domi's had 2 wins, yet can't get away from him. So Johan, I've wondered whether it was just getting onto those intermediate tyres got him a good qualifying position. He seems to have a fairly decent pace at this moment in time, but again, the pair of these are falling way back from the Suku, and in fact Caden's even got behind him. He's just pushing a bit too hard to catch up to the back of him, though. He has now got himself a penalty, as there we go. I think Lee Findlay has used a bit more of his ERS, because he's got a second ahead of Blizzard, and that's made the Williams driver very vulnerable on the run up the hill, and Suku on the outside. He's got more grip. He takes second.
Yeah, absolutely. With that DRS, he says, thank you very much, Blizzard. I'll take that from you. Blizzard will have a little bit of DRS now down towards turn 4, but look at the acceleration that Suku had off of turn 3 there, and that Renault has just got away from the Williams, but you can tell Blizzard is not going to take that line down. He might be on the medium tyres, he might be on a different strategy, but he just does not like being overtaken whatsoever. It's a sign of a true racer and a true driver here. He will try and overtake you even if he's on a so-called slower strategy at this point in the race. However, when it comes down to it, Luke, we've got the soft tyre runners of Lee Findlay and Suku. Now, we normally take into effect that the soft tyres are normally used at the start of the race, and they've normally got a qualifying lap under them, so they're a scrub set of tyres. Normally could take you about 11 laps into this race before you really have to think about changing over onto another set of tyres. But just how far could they take them? Because that's a brand new set of softs they've got on there.
I think they'll be aiming for 13 or 14, 15 would be a big push indeed, especially with how hard they are going at the moment. I think around lap 13 or 14, and then I imagine they'd go for the hard tyres. Going on the mediums would be a big risk indeed, as Domi gets back ahead of Johan, and now Surface gets ahead of Liam, who seems to be struggling on those hard tyres, but a bit like his teammate, he's just got to be patient and just got to wait for the race to come to him. He doesn't want to rush and make a mistake anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. On these hard tyres, you are going to have less grip out there, you are going to have less pace, but in that strategy. The pace comes back to you later on a faster set of tyres, on a lighter fuel load. Coutinho, meanwhile, now running his way through turn 5 there, now in towards turn 6 and 7, that double left-hander before the quick right-hander of turn 8, and it's a very, very fun circuit to drive, that is for sure. Oh, Parnell gets a big bit of oversteer on the exit of turn 8. You can see there Coutinho's got the inside line in towards 9, not a conventional overtaking place, but don't tell that to Coutinho because he won't listen. He's got up the inside of Liam Parnell and now moves up into 9th place, and Parnell there, that just came from those tyres just spinning up slightly. Here comes Aero, meanwhile, up the inside in towards turn 1 here. The Haas has to go the long way around and Simo has to go off the track. Big bit of oversteer there as the car said, you're having a laugh going over those bumps, and he has to try and get it back under control. He does. Aero now moves up to 11th place.
Yeah, he does, and I don't think it'll be too long before he gets past Liam as well. Even though the Williams will have DRS, you'll see very shortly that red light start to flash on the back. He's not got a lot of ERS to defend with, so this could be a fairly straightforward move for Aero. On the brakes on the inside into turn 4, just running out of time there. Very surprised Simo tried to go that hard over the bumps. That could have easily ended in a retirement, and he is definitely pushing hard at the moment in 12th place. I think Aero wants to get ahead of Liam though, because that will make him the lead car on the hard tyres. So maybe the only one, maybe the lead car out of those at the end of the race, that will be going to the soft tyres. So not looking too bad at the moment. They're only 10 seconds off the lead of this race, and what a slightly scuppered Lee Findlay, who is in that lead of the race as we come onto lap 9, is the fact that Suku's closed up to the back of him and bringing Blizzard on as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, just Simo a lap ago running wide at the exit of turn 1 there, honouring the words of Colin McRae. If in doubt, flat out, how relevant will that be? Lee Findlay, though, leading the race from Suku and Blizzard, and this is the point of the race where the soft tyre runners are going to sort of be matching the delta time that the mediums are capable of. The only problem is now, the soft tyres only get worse from now on in, so this is where Blizzard will come back into the race and be back on the pace. Meanwhile, Surface there is slowly closing in on Sam Gamer as we make our way down in towards turn 8. Meanwhile, that was Aero looking for a move up the inside of Liam Parnell going into 4. Couldn't quite find that one. Lots of tyre smoke there as Aero tried to slow that car down. Couldn't quite find a way past that Williams. But as you say, Luke, that looks like a moment of a moment of when rather than if that car gets past Surface. Still trying to chase down Sam Gamer. Meanwhile, battle for 4th place is still going on. Domi has just about got a little bit of a lead. There's a little bit of a gap there to himself and Johan. Caden Forbes in the background looking on and wanting to see more of this battle and maybe even be a part of it too. Lap 10 of this Grand Prix then. Lee Findlay leads from Suku. It's Blizzard in 3rd, Domi 4th, and it's Johan, Caden Forbes, Sam Gamer, Surface Coutinho and Liam Parnell rounding out the top 10. Aero, Simo, Dario Gamer and Petrix all rounding out positions 11 to 15, and all 15 people that started this race are still in it. Surface going for a move up the inside of Sam Gamer in towards turn 3. Did he get that car slowed down enough? Well, Sam Gamer's got the better run through turn 3 there as he now runs side by side between the two of them down towards turn 4. That Alfa Romeo has the DRS then and the inside line heading in towards turn 4, but Surface is not giving up on this position. They come together there on the exit of 4, and the Alfa Romeo tried to shut the door and Surface was still there. They've both been caught up in that one and they've both lost a huge amount of time. Sam Gamer down to 11th, Surface down to 12th.
Oh, just a bit unnecessary, that I'm afraid. I mean, Surface was trying his best to hang on, and I don't think Sam shut the door on purpose. I just don't think he had enough grip, going in a bit deep with the DRS perhaps, and just ended up colliding together. It'll be interesting to see if there are any afters after that happened, but both of them have dropped out now. Sam a long way further down than he was, and Surface, both of them losing DRS, so that is not ideal whatsoever, and it is still really closing down at the front. You've now got Lee, Suku and Blizzard all within a second of each other as Johan very late on the brakes into turn 3. He's got no chance of getting that stopped, and Domi gets back ahead, but it's just a little reminder from Johan that he's still there and he's still not given up despite not having the DRS. Yeah,
Johan here looking for a move down the inside in towards turn 4, but Domi's managed to hold it there and held on there, now staying in that 4th place. But look at this here, the top 3 now running all on the same bit of track, and Blizzard really has reeled in Lee Findlay and Suku as we head in towards this latter stage of the race. Speaking of which, Suku's picked up a penalty. Interesting though, Lee Findlay has not. He's kept a clean sheet of penalties right now, but look at the amount of grip and confidence that Blizzard has just in through turn 9 and 10 alone. He's reeling them in as we now head our way up towards turn 1. Of course here, the only person that's at a little bit of a disadvantage on the straights is Lee Finley, because he's the only one out of this group that doesn't have the DRS. But here is Suku and here is Blizzard. They'll both have a little bit of DRS as we head our way through turn 2. Suku moves to the right hand side. He's got the inside line going in towards turn 3. Blizzard thinks about following through. He can't quite do it, but he'll run side by side with Lee Finley. Why not? On the exit of turn 3, Suku's taken the lead of this race. Lee Finley here now gets a little bit of DRS. He's closing in on Suku. Surely not 3 wide down towards turn 4. Blizzard's right up the inside. He takes the lead of the race. What a move from Blizzard. Absolutely brilliant. Suku's not done with it though. Trying to find a way round the outside. In towards turn 6 we go. But Blizzard, what a move going through turn 4 from third to first in the blink of an eye. Brilliant.
Supreme bravery, supreme trust as well in the other drivers to know that you can make a 3 wide move work. Fantastic there from Blizzard. Just stayed wide coming through turn 3. He knew he could get that cutback, and it has worked absolutely fantastically for him. And you can already see now that Suku and Lee Finley are in the dirty air on those soft tyres, they're starting to wash out the front end ever so slightly more. It's going to be very tough for them from here. I wonder if we'll see either of them coming into the pits next time around. But Blizzard, he's just got to concentrate on his own strategy and maybe think, does he pit earlier and go for the hard tyres, or does he try and stretch these mediums long enough so that the softs are a viable option? Doesn't want to get a puncture, of course, on the final lap.
No, absolutely not. Meanwhile, Parnell then is up the inside of Coutinho. They're battling hard there as they head in towards turn 3. Parnell, meanwhile, remember, he started on those hard tyres. He's trying to make life difficult for that Ferrari here as we run down towards turn 4, but Coutinho stuck his nose in there and gets up the inside and ahead now of the Williams. Didn't give up on that move, even though it looked like that door was going to close, but he just held his own out there and now up a position. Of course, Coutinho, I believe this is his second race since his promotion up towards F1 here. Of course, he didn't get a points finish last time out, but it looks like he's got some strong pace here. Aero, meanwhile, speaking of strong pace, look at this, going side by side we go. Now in towards turn 9, the Racing Point's got the inside line, and Aero makes that look easy. I can tell you that is not an easy move to pull off, but Aero, brilliantly done.
Liam must be thinking deja vu. That's the second time he's been passed on that corner. Maybe we should say it's a bit more of a conventional overtaking point, as Coutinho does pick up a penalty now. That's the only downside you've got to say for Blizzard at the moment, is that he also has a penalty, whereas Lee Finley has kept it clean, and Lee just seems to be struggling a lot more now that he's in the dirty air. Domi and Johan and Caden just closing that gap ever so slightly. It can't be long before we see Suku and Lee dive into the pits. Will it be for a set of mediums though, or will it be for a set of hards? If you're on the hard tyres, you've got absolutely no doubts about making it to the end of the race. If it's the mediums, you're going to have to treat them with kid gloves just that bit more to ensure they're in a stable condition on the final laps.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big ask for these drivers as well. As we see here, Coutinho is now ahead of Aero and Liam Parnell, but Aero looks like he's on a man on a mission on those hard tyres. Meanwhile, then that's Suku coming into the pit, so from second place in this race decides it's time to change his tyres. Parnell picks up a 3-second time penalty. Let's ride on board with the Renault driver as he now makes his way to the box, and it looks like it is going to be the medium tyres, so he's looking to go to the end of the race. That's a long, long way. That's 22 laps, if I'm not mistaken, roundabout, that he's got to make on those tyres, but he clearly feels he can do it.
If you can do it, it will definitely be the fastest. If obviously the medium's much better than the hards. The hards you've seen from Liam and Aero, they're not really an ideal tyre. They take a while to warm up. He's got a bit of free air at the moment, so I don't think it'll be too long before we see Lee come into the pits. It's all about Blizzard, whether he thinks, do I follow them and go onto the hard tyres? If you do that, you're probably admitting defeat in this race. So he's now got to try and stretch these mediums long enough to get onto these soft tyres. So around lap 20 or 21, you should expect the Williams driver to come into the pits.
Well, we'll have to wait and see how that all unfolds. It's been a fantastic race so far. We're not even at the halfway point. That's some great news, isn't it? We get more racing action for more than half the time. Lee Finley, I think that's just him jumping into the pits, which it is. He now tries to brake as hard as he can. 80 kilometres per hour in the pit lane. The Mercedes crew jump out there and they are ready. On go a set of medium tyres. Lee Finley, where will he rejoin? Suzuki would have had a little bit of an undercut, a little bit of free air. What does this mean then for the Renault driver? He's now making his way across the start-finish line. The Mercedes there will hit that pit lane speed limit line as we now make our way in towards turn 1, and I think that's going to be Suku who Suku is clear. Yes, he is easily clear there. Lee Finley rejoins about 2 seconds behind. And of course, the nature of that pit lane exit means that he's going to lose even more time on the run up to turn 2 because of that compromised line he takes through turn 1.
Yeah, slightly awkward pit exit. I think I've seen cars spin it out on pit exit here, and the entry is pretty tricky as well. And you've got to be careful, especially if you're on new tyres that you're not used to the grip, that you don't just straight up oversteer or understeer into that pit wall. But thankfully, it looks like everyone has avoided that. Gamer, CRG Gamer, has been back into the pits. He's put a set of medium tyres, so that'll be a second and final pit stop. It's all about tyre management now for Suku and Lee Finley. They'll be hoping that by the time they catch up to the back of Surface, Sam, Samo, those guys will be coming into the pits, because that could really be the crucial point of this race, is how quickly can Suku and Lee Finley now make their way through the slower cars ahead of them.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial now, isn't it, that they need to get those overtakes done and at the same time make sure that they look after their tyres. At the moment, they should be gaining time on Blizzard because of the age of the tyres and whatnot. So we'll have to keep an eye on their pace. We'll have to keep an eye on how that affects the end of the race. And obviously what tyres Blizzard goes on, we're expecting him to go onto the soft tyres. That would be the strategy to really get you to the end of the race. And he will be lightning quick, but he'll have the same issue that the likes of Suku and Lee Finley had towards the end of his stint. His soft tyres will start to drop off, and he'll have to defend from medium tyre runners that will be faster delta pace. So it's all a little bit of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but Blizzard clearly feels that his time to do it is at the end of the race rather than at the start. Riding aboard then with Liam Parnell, he seems to have been going backwards recently, but he's now got Coutinho in his sights as he now makes his way in towards turns 9 and 10. Of course, he started all the way up in 5th place on a set of those hard tyres, so he was always going to go backwards with the likes of the medium and the soft tyre runners all around you, but he's held his own out there, and really the only driver he needed to worry about was Aero, and unfortunately he's got ahead of him.
Yes, and I think now, with so many drivers going onto the mediums, it's looking like they're all going to go onto the softs at the end, so this could be a bit more tricky for Aero and Liam, just depending on how long they can take their hards. They might have to hope for a safety car just to perhaps save their strategy, because it doesn't look like it's worked out for Liam. It's gone pretty well for Aero, you've got to say, at this moment in time, as Coutinho just got a bit of wheel spin there, as Pet Trucks speeding in the pit lane, so this might be Liam's chance to go down the inside into turn 4. They're going to be side by side on the exit. Coutinho's going to have the inside line through turn 6 by the looks of things, and Liam's still hanging on the outside, just has to give up that position with a little tap on the back of the Ferrari. Suku's definitely caught up a bit to the back of Blizzard, but on the last lap, looks like they've set a fairly even lap time, to be honest, and now Suku's in a bit of traffic. He's in a little DRS train, and he probably will be for the next couple of laps. Definitely heading towards Blizzard's favour this race.
Yeah, absolutely is at the moment, but of course there's still a long, long way to go, and I have to say the clouds have been gathering over Spielberg at the moment. They look okay for now, the sun's still shining through, but it might be one of those scenarios where we get the rain, but we get it right at the end of the race, or even once all the cars have now filed their way into Parc Ferme. Here comes Liam Parnell with that DRS with a move up towards turn 3, braking hard. Can he stop the car this time in time? Well, he'll get the better exit, will he? Off the corner? Yes, he will, and Parnell gets that move done, but Coutinho here has a little bit of DRS, a little bit of off of the throttle moment there from the Ferrari, as Liam Parnell is not making that easy for him whatsoever on the run down towards turn 4.
He's well entitled to. He's entitled to fight as hard as he possibly is, and that's what's happening with Surface, who's got ahead of Sam, and now Suku's all over the back of Sam, but he's not really gaining any time in this, and this will allow Lee to catch back up because he went outside of DRS range in all that pit stop as he went a lap longer than Suku, so he should have a bit less doubt of keeping his tyres lasting. Now can Suku use that extra grip on the tyres to maybe get alongside into turn 9. If you're behind into 9, you've not really got a chance, as Caden comes into the pits. End of lap 19 onto the soft tyres. That's a bit early as well.
That's a big, big call there, it has to be said. But, I mean, he's in the driving seat and we're not. That's as simply as we can put it. Domi, meanwhile, has been doing a good job of trying to close in on Blizzard. The gap a couple of laps ago was just over 2 seconds. It's now come down to 1.8. So Domi at the moment is looking good on pace, but he's got Johan all over the back of him now. And I'm sure Blizzard will be really appreciative if Johan can just put up a fight with Domi and allow Blizzard to just build that lead once again. Here comes Lee Finley Finley, meanwhile, running side by side on the run down towards turn 4 on the inside of Sam Gamer. Meanwhile, Suku there, that's a move on his teammate, and I don't think that Surface would have made that too difficult for his teammate. Lee Finley then gets into 10th place with that move on Sam Gamer.
Yes, and as Viking has just pointed out in the chat, Blizzard now has 6 seconds of penalties. Suku has 3. Lee Finley has still kept it nice and clean. Blizzard and Domi both coming to the pit, so that puts Johan into the lead. This could be pretty close, actually, I think, with Caden and Blizzard by the time they've finished their pit stops. Right at the end of the pit lane is De Williams. He should come out just ahead of Caden, but he'll come out behind Sam, behind Lee Finley, and behind quite a few others as Lee Finley now makes his way past Surface. So Blizzard is out on circuit. He's in 9th place, but he's going to have some overtaking to do on those soft tyres and to then get far enough ahead of Suku and Lee.
Well, you think about it, that Surface and Sam Gamer still have to make their pit stop as well, so I don't think Blizzard will have to deal with them for too long in this race. I have to say, though, the clouds up above are getting darker and darker. They look more and more grey as this race goes on. I wonder what this weather strategy is going to be like, whether the weather forecast is going to throw in a spanner in the works, Luke, maybe towards the end of this race. I'm sure we'll be doing whatever the opposite of a rain dance is, because we want to see all these strategies work in full fruition. There is Blizzard there, who's got the move done on Sam Gamer. To be honest with you, Sam Gamer on those 20-lap-old medium tyres, I don't think could have put up a fight, let alone would have put up a fight. Johan, meanwhile, is into the pits on his 21-lap-old medium tyres, and Parnell is out of the race. Now, where is that? That's on the start-finish line. Safety car.
Start-finish line, safety car. This has worked out absolutely beautifully for everyone who's coming into the pits now. But, like you said, if it's going to rain, how could this work? And Aero... You'd imagine now Aero comes into the pits as well, even though he's on the hard tyres. Everyone has to go to a Delta time at this moment. This helps Blizzard because it brings him right onto the back of Suku and Lee Finley, and he'll have the fresher tyres. But Aero... He's going to be a big winner from all of this. Surface and Sam Gamer didn't lose as much time as they would have done normally, and it's just going to close the pack right back up again. And if there is going to be any rain, a safety car coming out and forcing everyone to drive at reduced speed for a bit just makes it that tiny bit more likely.
Parnell, I can't work out how he lost it that far down the straight, though. I can't work that out. But he has. He's out of the race, and we've got ourselves a full course caution in the form of the physical safety car. Aero then will take full advantage of this one and come straight into the pit to get rid of those hard tyres. I'm reckoning now he'll go straight onto those softs to get himself to the end of the race. He won't be losing too much time. Now, importantly, Suku and Lee Finley stay out on their medium tyres. They can't afford to pit in now. Blizzard will be rubbing his hands together. He'll be liking this one, because the fewer laps he does on his soft tyres, the less wear he accumulates, the less wear he can accumulate, the more he can push, and the more he can push, I think the happier Blizzard will be.
Yes, definitely. And the fact that Aero's coming to the pit says that maybe we just expected it to get duller and not rain, because I think if we were expecting rain, he'd have stayed out until the rain had started falling and then maybe been in a really good position, or he just felt like he'd worn his tyres out too much, and I could be talking absolute rubbish. I am known for doing that at times. What isn't rubbish, though? Suku and Lee Finley are going to really struggle with a tyre warm-up more than Blizzard and Domi, and all of a sudden Domi, with no penalties, he's in a really good position. He didn't look to have the pace in those first few laps, but he's kept himself clean, with Blizzard having 6 seconds, Caden behind him having 9 seconds. Domi on the soft tyres is in a really good place.
He is indeed. 4th place right now, and that's, of course, our 2nd place man in this championship. And as you said, Luke, all he needs is a top 5 finish, I believe you said, and he has a chance of taking this championship lead. Of course, 10 points the gap between them, and Domi, right now, is scoring 12 of them, so he's in a great position to take the championship lead heading in towards the next round. However, we've still got a good few laps to go before we can even think about championship standings heading into the next round. So a safety car really gives us the best opportunity to run down the standings at this moment in time. Suku leads the race with Lee Finley in 2nd, Blizzard 3rd with Domi in 4th. It's Caden Forbes 5th with Johan 6th, Aero 7th, Coutinho in 8th, Simo is in 9th, Surface rounding out the top 10. It's Sam Gamer in 11th. Gamer for CRG is in 12th place. That's not going to be confusing whatsoever. Dario in 13th, and Petrix running in 14th place. Looking at at the penalties, there you can see Suku 3 seconds worth of penalties, Blizzard on 6 seconds. There you can see Caden Forbes on 9, and so on and so forth. No one has got more than 9 seconds worth of penalties, but at that point it's going to be really hard to keep yourself in this race without a black flag next to your name. And looking at the stops there, you can see CLG Gamer, Dario and Petrux, that was their 3rd stop of the race. You can see there the positions gained and lost. The big winner in that one is Caden Forbes. He's up 5 places from his original starting position. Dario seems to be the biggest loser at the moment, down 4 from his starting position. And looking at the rest of the stats here, the one I wanted is the fastest lap of the race, because that's going to be a huge one to have. If you finish in the top 10, of course, and have the fastest lap next to your name, you will get that extra bonus point. And considering 12 out of the 14 drivers have a chance of setting that lap, and of course out of those 8 of them have a chance of finishing in the top 10, you've got to say that that fastest lap time is going to be one to contest. Safety car will be in this lap, as of course now Suku will lead the pace around and try and get himself back up to working order, back up to that pace that he needs, tyre temperature that he needs, just a last minute warm up he needs, as we now make our way across in towards turn 9 once again. Suku really trying to warm up those tyres as a last ditch attempt to get some heat into those tyres, now making his way through turn 9. Now of course, as long as it's a consistent pace, this is okay. Suku's gone for it now in towards turn 10, and we're about to get this race back underway. Aero with a 5-second penalty for a collision with Coutinho. We're now back under green flag racing here in Spielberg, and look at this, Blizzard is instantly going to be on the attack, heading in towards turn 1, right on the back of Lee Finley now. He's got a really good exit out of turn 1. Lee Finley's going to struggle to keep Blizzard behind now, running side by side as we head our way through turn 2 and up towards turn 3. Blizzard's got the move done without DRS before the braking zone. Great stuff from Blizzard. He now moves up into 2nd.
Yeah, Lee Findlay not even using his ERS there. I think he realised as soon as turn 1 had happened, that move was coming sooner rather than later, and he might as well just let it happen. And Suku's having to go defensive here into turn 4, locks up. Can Blizzard get the traction on the exit through 5? They're going to be side by side coming through 6, but Blizzard, he's got the outside line. Can he go all the way around the outside into 6? They're so close on the exit. He's got the move done. Now he just needs to get away and hope that Domi gets held up by the pair of these guys. Lee Findlay still ahead of Domi for now. I don't think there are any other big changes on that lap. Blizzard, he's a man on a mission. Now he's just got to push. Used up all his ERS that he could on that lap, because you do have obviously you have a limit, physical limit with your battery, and you have a limit with how much you're allowed to use on one lap. He's burned it all off. He's pushing like mad, and I don't think it'll be too long before Domi's making his way past Lee Findlay, perhaps in a similar fashion to what we saw Blizzard do last time around.
I mean, that took Blizzard exactly 1 lap to take the lead of this race. A man on a mission, as you said. Domi now having to go round the outside of Lee Findlay going in towards turn 3, but Domi on those soft tyres should have a little bit more grip on track exit, or on corner exit I should say, as he now runs down towards turn 4, looking for a move up the inside maybe. Not quite there for the Haas driver, has to stay behind for now. Aero, the biggest gainer in that safety car period, now in 7th place. Meanwhile, we're going side by side. Up ahead, it's Domi and Lee Findlay running side by side, getting a little bit too close for comfort there as they made their way in towards turn 6.
Yeah, getting a bit close, and Domi not able to get the move done. Can he get it done into 9? And no, he has to stay behind Lee Findlay. There'll be DRS next time around, but Lee's going to have it as well off the back of Suku. So I think that turn 6, from turn 4 into, well, I was about to say from turn 4 into turn 6 will be the best move, but Lee didn't get the best exit through turn 10, and Domi's down the inside already, up into 3rd place, very late on the brakes. Suku his next target, and then it's all about staying in contact with Blizzard, and Domi can get himself the win, and Caden now has a look on Lee.
Yeah, Caden Forbes will have to go the long way round in towards turn 3, but on those soft tyres he should have a little bit of a better exit. Lee Findlay leaves his braking late, and there comes Johan. Where did he come from? Using that inside line, and he's taken full advantage of 2 drivers who have a compromised line going in towards 3, now heading in towards turn 4. Johan has just picked up 2 positions there, as easy as that. Lee Findlay though will try and get that position back. Meanwhile, we're going side by side. Domi now makes his way through into 2nd place going in towards turn 6. He's now got that move done. Lee Findlay meanwhile is now having to struggle to keep Caden Forbes behind him. Oh, Caden Forbes has spun it. He's spun it on the exit in towards 7 there, and his Surface has had to take avoiding action there. Luckily, he's ghosted there, so other drivers don't have to avoid him as such, but I think Surface was just an innocent bystander in that one, and I don't think, in all honesty, Caden Forbes could have done a lot more there. Looked like he was just caught up with that little bit of a problem.
Yeah, it looked like, I don't know whether there was a bit of ghosting on my screen, but it looked like there was just a slight tap from Caden on the back of Lee, and we know what the physics are like on this game. If you get a tap on the back, if you get a tap on the front, sorry, that's it. You're sent spinning around, and Aero now makes his way past Johan, and such a shame for him that he got that penalty under the safety car, as did Coutinho. If they don't serve it, they'll be able to get it removed, of course. The service now gets past Petrox's AI car, and Johan having a go on Suku here. Are we going to see Johan, who's not had a top 5 finish all season, managed to get his way onto the podium?
Well, he's now got into third place, making his way past Suku there, and it's just unfortunate for Suku and Lee Finley in terms of their perspective that they were now on the medium tyres when that safety car came out, because really they have to really get those tyres to the end. Coutinho, meanwhile, now has a look on the inside of Lee Finley there, making his way towards turn 9. He's got the inside line. We've seen that move about 3 or 4 times this race. It's not a conventional overtaking opportunity, is it, Kieran? Well, the drivers are proving you wrong tonight. Simo is the latest driver to try and grab a position from Lee Finley. Lee Finley might as well be putting it in reverse gear, because that's the direction he's going. Simo gets a move up the inside, and those medium tyres for Lee Finley are just not working anymore. Sam Gamer will now have an opportunity to try and get a move now. He moves to the right hand side. Lee Finley's got the DRS and slipstream from Simo, but it's still not enough. Sam Gamer now gets a move up the inside, and in the space of one corner, and in the space of one sector I should say, that Lee Finley is going to lose another position to CRG Gamer, now down to 10th place for Lee Finley. Those tyres are not good at all. It's safe to say the tyres are gone, Bono.
The tyres are absolutely gone, and for once the Mercedes is actually telling the truth when they say that. As now Dario just straight round the outside. This is like watching me race against these guys. Never mind someone with the quality of Lee Finley. He's just got absolutely nothing to fight with. Suku's doing a slightly better job, but now he's got this train of cars behind, and as soon as he loses DRS, it's going to be good night Vienna, and I don't think there's anything Suku will be able to do about it. Domi staying in contact with Blizzard though, with 7 laps to go. Domi's still looking good to take the win at the moment, as Aero sets the fastest lap, and with the penalty situation at the moment, it would actually be Johan who takes second place, and Suku might just sneak onto the podium. I think he would drop behind Blizzard, but it's all going to be very close, and there's still plenty of time for some penalties, as Johan, him and Domi aren't finished with their battle. Straight down the inside into turn 3, Johan's up into second on track.
Yeah, nice move from Johan. He's now up to that second place position. Domi now moving down to third. Meanwhile, CRG Gamer gets a move there. He's now ahead. Dario gets a move on Sam Gamer as he now run down towards turn 4 here, and Sam Gamer trying to move around the outside, opposite lot going into 4, manages to gather it up though and continue on. Domi with his 0 penalties, looking good here. The thing with Blizzard is he has to push on. He has to keep driving at his maximum pace to get this win. He's got to make up 6 seconds. Currently that gap is 2.5 seconds with 7 to go, 6 and a bit if you're picky. At the moment, Coutinho looks like he's going to lose out big time. 14 seconds worth of penalties. That's black flag territory at this moment in time. He's got to be careful.
You've got to be careful. I think he should be fine, because 5 seconds of those are a safety car penalty, and Aero has that same 5 seconds as well. So again, he'll be looking to get them removed after that race, because I think he was ahead of Coutinho, and it was Coutinho going into the back of Aero. So that should be straightforward for the Racing Point driver to get them removed, and he'll be happy with that. He's only had 1 podium so far this season. It was a 3rd in China, and it looks like he might get a podium at this moment in time, as Domi with the DRS on Johan, and Johan's actually catching up to Blizzard here. He's having an absolutely stonking evening.
He is indeed. I mean, to be honest with you, if someone made a highlight reel of this race, it would just be the whole race. Just upload the whole race. It's just been absolutely fantastic from start to finish. Aero, meanwhile, I saw some drops of rain. Is it raining in Spielberg here? I did see some drops of rain just from that helicopter camera, or am I creating drama? Just looking at the halos, that's the best opportunity to see if there's any rain falling on the circuit. Blizzard gets himself another penalty. We've got a yellow flag. I think that's Simo who's had a little bit of a moment there. Yeah, you can see the dirt on his tyres there. Just a little bit off track there. Lee Finley momentarily got a position, but look at that. Simo is going to take advantage of that wheel spin move there from Lee Finley, and actually no, he's not, because he realises turn 1's not really the opportunity. Looks like I was making up that little bit of drama there. Domi, meanwhile, looking for a move up the inside in towards turn 2. Up the inside, the Haas goes, and they continue their battle and their scrap yet again. Domi takes away second place from Johan, and by the looks of it, that rain looks like it was just a little bit of a visual glitch just for me, just me not seeing things right. Johan moving up to second place once again in towards turn 4, and Domi here surely not going to try moving towards 6 here. He might do round the outside, but he might compromise his line because Aero is right there, right on his tail. I hope you grab your popcorn during that safety car because there's no chance of you grabbing anything now.
Yeah, there's action all through the field, and Conrad Gaming mentioned that one of their guys might be getting a podium, and it's not the one leading the race at the moment. Game has kept it nice and clean. He's in 6th place. He's within DRS range of Coutinho. He's had a very good race to say he had to pit on the end of lap 1. We've only got 4 laps remaining. We've got way more than 4 races remaining. We've still got 11 to go. After this one, we're at the halfway point of the season with Silverstone next time around. Here comes Domi on the back of Johan, then gets the move done, and Aero might just be able to be clever here and maybe do what we've seen a few drivers do to Lee Findlay earlier, get that inside line, but not able to do so as Davio now works his way past Suku.
Sama Gamer runs into the side of Suku there, loses a bit of front wing as well. Didn't quite catch how that happened, just saw the end of it, but Sam Gamer does have a little bit of damage on his left side end plate on that front wing. He's going to struggle for grip now for the rest of this race, and what Blizzard wanted to do, which was drive away and get away from the rest of the field with 9 seconds worth of penalties now. He's going to be dropping down the order, at least with Domi, and Aero will be taking his position straight away. Johan possibly will be taking that position as well, and Blizzard might be falling slightly down the order. That safety car towards the end of this race, or towards the midpoint of this race, really didn't help him. There he is leading the race right now as he starts lap 34. 3 to go here in Spielberg. Don't go anywhere because we have got some great action coming up. Coutinho, meanwhile, has had a moment at the final corner. He's fallen all the way down the field, down to 12th place. Caden Forbes comes into the pits to retire from the race, so he becomes our 2nd retirement of the Austrian Grand Prix.
Yes, such a shame there for Caden. Just that little bit of an incident with Lee Findlay. Wonder whether that will go to the stewards. I mean, I'm sure the way Lee's thinking, he's just thinking, oh yeah, send it to the stewards, something else to go wrong, because it really did look as though he could win this race, having kept it clean earlier. Safety cars happened, he stayed out on the medium tyres. I can see why you want to have the track position, but it's just not worked out for him, and he's soon going to be right behind Suku as Seimo gets all over the back of Suku. Such a shame for Coutinho. He was going to find it hard to get into points anyway with the amount of penalties he had, and that spin there just pretty much ends his chances. And Domi starting to close up to the back of Blizzard a bit more now. I think Blizzard's chance of getting the victory are certainly over, and probably of getting a podium as well. And Domi, he's looking really good at the moment. We wouldn't have expected him to win after the first few laps, but that's why I said we're going to know at the end of the race who's going to take the victory, and that's going to be it. With 2 laps to go, it looks like being Domi, but a slight mistake, and that can change everything. Yeah, and the safety car being deployed when it did is just a bit of a shot to the foot for the likes of Suku and the Mercedes of Lee Findlay. There wasn't a lot they could do. They needed to stay on their medium tyres, really. Here comes Suku looking for a move around the outside now into turn 3. Sam Gamer gets a little bit of oversteer. There goes Simo going straight the way through. Suku doesn't get the power down that he needed or wanted, and there goes Lee Findlay getting that position. Meanwhile, that's Simo there trying to go up the inside of Sam Gamer as we make our way in towards turn 4 on this penultimate lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. Still, they're going to run side by side as we make our way in towards turn 6. Sam Gamer's still on the inside, but he's going to have a little bit of understeer going through 6, and Simo sticks it round the outside. Brave stuff from a car he's battling against that doesn't have the front downforce that he has, really. And I have to say, Aero here is really closing in onto the back of the likes of Johan and Domi. But there is Blizzard. He's going to start the final lap of this Austrian Grand Prix, and if the other 35 laps are anything to go by, this one's going to be fantastic, just like the ones before. Blizzard leading the way though, but with 9 seconds worth of penalties. Domi running in 2nd place right now, and this is where he wants to stay, really. The 2 cars behind him have penalties, although with the penalty with Aero, that could be disputed. He could get that removed, so Domi's going to treat that as a battle out on track. Blizzard has really fallen off the pace towards the end of this race. Domi, Johan and Aero are clawing him in as they make their way now down towards turn 4 for the final time here in Austria, making our way through these final kilometres now. Blizzard still leads as we make our way towards turn 6 as we fly our way through great corners these through 6 and through 7 here.
And if Domi can keep this position here, he will grab his third race win of the season and extend his lead now, or take the lead, I should say, at the top of the table. Here the drivers go then, round turn 9 and turn 10 for the final time. It's going to be Blizzard who takes the checkered flag out on track, but it's going to be Domi who grabs win number 3 at the Austrian Grand Prix this season. What a race. Gamer second, Johan third. Who saw that as a podium going into this race? Absolutely scintillating stuff. Scintillating action in Spielberg. Wow, wow, wow. Domi with race win number 3 of the season and takes the championship lead heading in towards round 12. It's CRG Gamer who's been voted by the in-game fans as the driver of the day. Well, I have to say, Spielberg does deliver in terms of league racing, and with that safety car heading into that just past the halfway stage, it really did spice up the race for all drivers, apart from 2 of them. However, it is Domi, the Italian, who grabs his 3rd race win of the season, and with it, the championship lead.
Yeah, an absolutely fantastic job from Domi. I think we can sum up that race enough by... Most times in Formula 1, when you see a bit of rain clouds, you're thinking, oh, we might get some rain here. And then we were both there like, please don't rain, please stay dry. We want to see how this ends. Great job from Domi. Great job from Gamer as well, keeping it clean to get up to second. Although you'd imagine Aero might get that second place removed in the stewards. We'll have to wait and see. But either way, a fantastic result from all the drivers today. There was some great racing on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to take you through the official, unofficial results of the Austrian Grand Prix here in the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on PS4. It's Domi with win number 3. Gamer in 2nd place from 15th on the grid with Johan in 3rd. Aero in 4th, also grabbing the fastest lap of the race. So that's another bonus point for Aero. And he could go to the stewards to try and get those 5 second removed. That's why we still call it the official, unofficial results. Blizzard with his penalties falls to 5th place. Lee Finley goes up to 6th with his no penalties. So a good day at the office for what he can have had anyway. Dario in 7th place, Surface 8th, Suku in 9th, and Simo rounds out the top 10. Sam Gamer in 11th, Kugino 12th, and Petrix does get to the finish line in 13th place. Caden Forbes and Liam Parnell, the only retirements of this Austrian Grand Prix. Well, Luke, I have to say, what a race. I think that's up there with race of the season.
It's definitely the best one I've commentated on this season. So much action. Shame about the penalties, really, and shame that it wasn't a lap longer, because I feel like it could have got even more exciting with Domi just catching up Blizzard on pace there. He must be a bit gutted about his penalties. Suku and Lee Finley might be thinking now, should I have come into the pits? You've got to say they probably wouldn't have lost anything else. A fantastic race, and Domi, he knew he had a great chance to take the championship lead. Did all he could. He gets the win. He's now 15 points ahead of Gil.
He is indeed, and Gil's no-show tonight means that championship lead is handed over, as you rightfully said. And I have to say as well, Gamer, just by having no penalties, shot up the order towards the end of the race, and it just shows you that if you do stay on the right side of those track limits, you really can get rewarded. 2nd place for him.
That's always the thing with a late safety car. If it closes up the entire pack in that situation and you've got yourself a penalty, you're in trouble, because it allows everyone else to catch up. And it's no coincidence that the top 2 in that race didn't have any penalties, and the man who finished 3rd across the line only had 1 penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Domi will hopefully speak to our top 3 if we get a chance to speak to them. Of course, it's not a mandatory quote-unquote press conference, but if we do get to hear from them, that would be absolutely brilliant. So Domi with win number 3 on the cards. Gamer with podium number 3 on the cards, and the Frenchman in Johan there. Well, looking at Johan, he was 10th place in the standings coming into this one. That's his first podium of the season in that Ferrari, and how good of a result that Ferrari needed to get themselves up the order. I mean, Luke, I don't know what else I could say to try and hype up that race anymore. I think the racing did the talking, to be honest, better than what I'm doing right now.
I mean, yeah, definitely. As I said earlier on in the race, when I saw Johan high up the grid, I thought, oh, that's just because he's got it right with the intermediate tyres. He might be a bit of a cork in the bottle. He was the opposite of that. He was bringing it to Domi and was like, yeah, I'm belonging with these people. And sometimes you just need that. I suppose the closest analogy I can think of in recent F1 is, look how different Sebastian Vettel was at Turkey when he's at the front of the field. Sometimes you need that extra motivation of being at the front, and it was Johan's best race by far. 3rd place, that might get dropped down to 4th because of penalties. He'll certainly be hoping that it doesn't. But this might just kickstart his season. And we've seen already with a few other drivers, Gamer being one of them, they only really needed one really good result to get themselves underway.
Yeah, absolutely, and we are getting some of the drivers coming into the box right now. We haven't got our race winner yet in Dommy, but we do have the second place man in Gamer. Gamer, can you hear us?
I can, yes.
Well, I have to say, it's good to speak to you again. Back-to-back podiums, and that was one hectic race, wasn't it? Your thoughts on that, please?
That was ridiculous. I was 30 seconds behind on lap 2 after front wing damage on lap 1, and then, yeah, it was looking pretty bad from then on in. I had decent pace, but I was constantly sort of a pit stop behind everyone. But the safety car definitely helped out, and then I saw, obviously, a lot of people had penalties, so I was just trying to keep it clean with the 2 warnings I had for the rest of it, and then popped up at second at the end. I was like, oh my god, yeah, it's crazy. I can't want anything more, really. Well, besides Dominic getting a penalty would have been nice, but yeah, it was crazy.
Well, yes, you've equalled your best finish this season. Of course, the second place in Monaco now being equal best. But which podium was the better one? This one or the one in Monaco? Be honest.
It's hard to say. I mean, probably this one, because the track limits are so difficult, and I just about, well, obviously didn't get a penalty, but Monaco's Monaco, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, the amount of positions I gained in this race, starting from last, was crazy. So yeah, I'll take this one.
Yeah, and of course that qualifying session as well, where times were being set on intermediates, times were being set on wets, and how did you find it out there in quali?
Initially, sort of on the wets, I was just sort of getting used to it, and then I thought I'd just take a gamble really early on the inters to see when the transition point was, and I got that sort of right. And then I was about to go out for my last run on the inters, and the pit crew just decided they didn't want me to go out, so I missed out on my final run, which was really annoying. And then yeah, so it was pretty much a disaster.
Well, I'll actually hand over to Luke, because I didn't do this last time. I'll hand over to Luke to see if he's got any questions for you.
Well, to be honest, the only question that's in my mind at the moment as I look for the party screen is how much are you willing to sell your PlayStation 5 for? But great race from yourself. Fantastic job keeping it clean. What happened on the first lap? Because we saw some contact on the first lap with Dario. We didn't quite see what happened with yourself. What contact was it that caused you to come into the pits?
Honestly, I think going into turn 3, obviously everyone breaks quite early. On the first lap, and it just caught me out slightly, I can't, to be honest, and hit the back of him. Was it Dario I hit? I don't know, but yeah, that's all it was. And then contact and front wing damage, and yeah, unfortunate, just one of those lap 1 incidents that I seem to always get involved in.
Well, didn't seem to affect you today. Best result of the season, and yeah, hopefully for yourself, you'll carry on the good work in the second half of the season.
Thank you. Hopefully.
Well, obviously, Gamer, we'll leave it to you to any final words you want to say whilst you're on the podium.
Not really, other than I hope I'm back next week.
I like it for the British Grand Prix. Do you rate your chances there coming onto the podium?
Who knows? I mean, the last few races have been absolutely crazy, and anything could happen, so I'd like to say yes, but at the same time it could quite easily not be, so we'll see what happens.
Well, we will see what happens indeed next week at Silverstone. But thank you very much, Gamer, for joining us in this box, and well done on your podium, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
And we now come to third place man in the race on that one, which is Johan, the Frenchman. Johan, you're welcome in the commentary box. Congratulations on your first podium of the season. How do you feel?
Yeah, thank you. I feel very good, very good. It's my first podium this season, my first podium in AOR F1. So yeah, I'm really happy. It was a lot of pressure during all the race, and to smash a final podium here in Austria, I'm really proud. I'm very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And of course, I've asked this question to Gamer. So qualifying was probably one of the trickiest sessions of this season. How did you approach it, especially with that transition period right at the end of the session?
At the beginning it was really wet, so we have to start the quali with wet tires. It was logical, but at the end I saw the rain decrease a lot, and yeah, I thought that it was a good idea to try into tires, and I think it was the right choice, and yeah, it was a good P6 in quali, and it was one of the key of the result today.
Yeah, it was a bit of a hectic race as well. And when that safety car came out, I mean, how was your initial reaction?
Lucky. Whoa! It was my reaction was whoa! What a chance! What a luck! It was the safety car comes at the right moment for me.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the podium here, it might be contested in the steward's office with Aero's 5-second penalty, but for now you're on the podium. How do you get that momentum? How do you push yourself forward now for Silverstone? Obviously you've got that podium now. Does this change how you prepare for Silverstone?
No, I will continue to push very hard, like I do always for Silverstone Grand Prix. I think there were a lot of particular conditions today, but yeah, I think Silverstone will be more difficult. It's maybe my only podium of the season, so I will enjoy it, maximum enjoy it. And yeah, we will see what happened in Silverstone.
Great stuff. Luke, I'll hand it over to you for a question or two.
Yeah, congratulations on the result, Johan. Can you think of any reason why, today you just seemed absolutely on it, straight from qualifying? I mean, I have to apologise. When I saw you high up at qualifying, I was expecting you to drop back in the race, and you ended up improving to get your first podium. Is it just you really enjoy this track, or have you changed something that you think has found you a bit more pace?
No, the Austria track is not my favorite track, honestly. But I don't know what happened. I was in a great day today. Yeah, I don't know why, but the pace was good. Yeah, I stayed behind Domi during all the race. And struggle a lot with Domi and also Forbes and Aero in the end. And yeah, I don't know what happened, but the pace was really good, and yeah, it was a great day for me to do this podium. That's all.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your podium, and who knows, we might get to see you again at some point this season.
Sorry?
Congrats on the podium, and we might get to see you again at some point this season.
Ah, yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's been great to talk to you. Just any final words from you, Johan, before you head off and celebrate your podium?
Final words. Thanks for the race. Thank you for commentate this Austrian Grand Prix, and congrats to our drivers who raced tonight. So, and yeah, that's all.
Perfect. Well, Johan, very professionally done. Hopefully we'll see you on in the podium commentary box soon. But in the meantime, enjoy your Austrian Grand Prix podium. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good evening.
And unfortunately, we've got no Domi, the race winner, but I'm sure he's off celebrating his third race win of the season in style, and I hope responsibly as well. Which just leaves me to hand over the final words to you, Luke. I mean, what a race. It's up there, contender with race of the season.
Oh, that was absolutely fantastic, really. There was many points we were wondering who were going to take the win. We thought it was Lee, Suku or Blizzard. Safety cars and penalties changed that, and we've ended up with a podium that probably even halfway through the race, in fact, probably even when the safety car came in, we wouldn't have predicted that a top three. We might have predicted Domi winning, but a great job from Gamer and Johan, obviously, to get onto the podium as well, and they'll all be feeling pretty good into Silverstone, and Gil's definitely got his work cut out when he returns.
Absolutely, and hopefully you will return with us at Silverstone next time out. Next week, of course, 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Adjust to your time zone accordingly. Make sure as well you're subscribed to Apex Online Racing. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another race again. We, of course, do have our F1 races on PC and Xbox tonight as well, so go and check those out when you can. And, of course, our Twitters are down there below. Myself and Luke Etheridge, our Twitters are down below as well. Saves them spelling us out because there's silent letters. There's a C in my name that's silent. Who'd have thunk it? But our Twitters are down there if you want to give us a follow. And we hope you've enjoyed tonight's coverage. It was certainly a race we won't forget, and it's certainly a race that my voice will never forgive me for. But in the meantime, we've got Silverstone next week, and I hope you will join us for then. In the meantime, please take care of yourselves out there in this crazy world, and I hope you're keeping yourself safe wherever you are. In the meantime, I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been Luke Etheridge.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.